right, well, that was quite an ending. Just super proud of the resilience of my team to start out. 12 turnovers in the first quarter. We knew West Virginia bothered us the last 3 minutes at home when we built a double-digit lead. That's why I called a timeout with 3 minutes to go to kind of reset our minds. And I thought it almost slowed us down too much or sped us up, some combination of the two. But I thought Quinterly and Harrison were just so good playing downhill down the stretch. Obviously a huge three by Quinterly, but it was the momentum that they got by those two just probing until they could get all the way to the rim. Which was smart because we just didn't have any rim protection until the last possession. So I thought it was an unbelievable basketball game. I told my team, we can either be frustrated with having an 8-point lead and seeing it dissolve into a 1-point deficit, or we can be proud of ourselves for being on the road in a hostile environment and having an 8-point lead to play with. Yes, those last 3 minutes matter, and we've got to be better in those situations, but we also put ourselves in position with a really, really good third quarter into the fourth in terms of maintaining, building, getting really comfortable in our offense, being really solid on defense. But sometimes it takes one play. I thought we had a really good offensive read there in some ways when we were down one. I got Sarah on a ball screen playing downhill against their five. And Moore, who hasn't played a lot of minutes recently, and thought she could get by her, but chose to throw that skip pass. And when it went out of bounds, we could have hung our heads, but I thought Jada made an unbelievable play. I actually feel a little bit bad in some ways, except for the fact that I'm not saying we didn't deserve to win, but Quinterly had such an unbelievable game. For her to foul out on that last play, she was so good tonight. So, but proud of Jada for making the defensive play and Jana for making the free throws.
Coach, so there's 7.9 seconds left on that play. At that point, you're coming out of the time. You probably told your girls, "Hey, they're going to inbound and we're going to foul, right?" And then the play unfolds as it does. As you're watching that unfold, just what kind of emotions go?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, we knew we had the arrow, okay? So we weren't just fouling, okay? We want steal, tie up, then foul, okay? So you have the ability, when you have the arrow your way. But certainly we knew, all right, here's the situation. We're going to foul right away if we don't get steal or tie up. And then here's the play. If they make one free throw, if they make two, we don't have a timeout, they don't have a timeout. So in this situation, here's what we're running. Here's what you're looking for in this action if we need a two. Here's what you're looking for in this action if we need a three. So we definitely had processed and gone through that process. And it's something we haven't run a ton lately, but something we ran a lot early in the season and had as kind of a free throw play, even in just regular regulation when we don't necessarily need a two or three. So it's something that they had run before, but seeing that ball tip, it was a perfect example of why you don't quit on a play, because, Jada just kept coming, and when, she was able to, it would have been easy to let the ball roll out of bounds, but to have the wherewithal to just pick it up and attack, that's a huge difference between a 1-on-0 at the rim and then having to call, I don't have a timeout, so having to get it in and try to, make something happen. So yeah, that, what did I feel? I don't know. I don't think I was feeling anything except anxiety at that point. A little frustration over the turnover, but trying to stay positive with them because they needed it. But just proud of our effort on that play.
And if you can give me a clarification. So Jada gets the steal in the corner, drives the baseline, gets fouled. She doesn't shoot the free throw.
Yeah, she landed on her neck real hard, was a little woozy. And as soon as your trainer goes out, which Jada's a really good free throw shooter, so it wasn't like a ploy to get her out of the game. And it can't, I'm not going to be lying. It's like people laying on a football field, to let time run at times. But, I just felt like, when your neck and you've had some whiplash, and we weren't sure it wasn't an intentional foul. And so, but once the trainer goes out, you can choose a sub, but that person has to be the one that shoots it. You can't choose someone on the floor. I couldn't have had Sarah Andrews shoot it. So yeah, Jana doesn't go to the line a lot, but Just really believed the way she's been playing lately that she could rise to the occasion there.
Okay, so you got to pick who should.
Yes.
Because we were wondering if it
Yes.
was WVU or
Yes,
you did. Okay.
yes, yes. I don't think they would have picked her.
Right.
In scouting the game, you probably saw that last play with Harrison going the length of the court.
Oh yeah, I just saw it against Kansas State. We sure did.
Had you prepared for that? I mean, had you done anything? 'Cause, I mean, you had 3 people back there, and
Yeah, well, you don't really prepare for it. We just knew we didn't want. We were telling them, she's going to keep it and take it the whole way, especially with Quinterly fouling out. Like she was the option, and that we knew she was going to go coast to coast, and 4.8 is a long time for her. So it was about getting everyone back because she was going to the rim. Like she wasn't going to pull up. She was going to go to the rim. And so not being trailing, we didn't care. Because make or miss, like once we made the first shot, the game, we're in good position at that point to at least go to overtime. So we don't want an offensive rebound at that point. So we put everybody back to try to kind of congest and make it hard. And it was a pretty good moment, for one of our 4 blocks, I guess.
We've got time
2.
for one more question.
I guess we had 4. I don't remember 4 blocks, but thank you, stat people.
As someone that's coached at all levels of women's basketball, and now we're starting to see this rapid rise in attendances and everything spotlighting women's basketball, what does it mean to play in front of a crowd, despite it being on the road like this that you're seeing in women's basketball?
I think, you can say we're having a moment, but I prefer to believe we have momentum, and so, I think with the rise in social media and players becoming household names like a Caitlin Clark, like a Paige Beckers, like an Angel Reese, you're just starting to see more attention on it. And I've always said our hardest sell has always been getting people in the door. It's not keeping them. Because I think people realize pretty quickly that women's basketball has a very grassroots mentality. I mean, we don't have security around our players. They're in the stands. They're signing autographs, win or lose. We don't ever meet at home games after the game in the locker room because I want our players to be role models for young people and family and people that have spent money to come out and watch them. And so it's just a really cool time in our sport, and I think we're seeing it in obviously not just attendance, but viewership when games are on TV, especially when it's on ABC and when it's on Fox. The rise in attention paid, and with that you also have the Twitter wars, and you have but it's like at least people are talking about it now, and fewer people are telling us to stay in the kitchen. So, I think it's just a really good time for these athletes to, no one likes playing in an empty gym. I don't care if you're at home or on the road. I mean, it's not fun to play in front of an empty gym. And so when you hear that crowd roar when they took the lead, when Quinterly hit that 3, that's what it's about. That crowd willed that team back those last 3 minutes. And they're going to be there for him the next game. They've had an unbelievable season. It's clearly not over yet, but he's done a great job coming off a really good year last year with Dawn.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.